Hey guys, this is test 59 game 4. This is the cities game. It's an ordering game. We know this because the rules are all referring to the variables as being before and after each other. So I laid out 6 spaces here, 1 through 6. They tell us that L's after T, so I put down T before L, which means L's never first and T's never last. They tell us that W and V have to touch, although they don't specify the order. They tell us that M and T are 2 spaces apart. Again, they don't specify the order, and they tell us that V and L are 2 spaces apart. But again, they don't specify the order either. So not really a whole lot of obvious inferences to do up front here. You could make several different main diagrams based upon the placement of V, given that V also impacts W. I've done it that way in the past, but it's rather time consuming, so I'm going to go without that approach here, and rather I'm simply going to do more work throughout the game itself rather than doing lots of main diagrams up front here. So anyway, question number 17 is a typical orientation question. We're just taking one rule at a time and applying that rule to all 5 choices, looking for violations. So for example, they tell us that T is before L, so any choice with L before T can automatically be eliminated, and that gets rid of choice B here. They tell us that W and V have to touch, so look for cases of them not touching. D violates that having M between them, so D is gone. They tell us that T and M have exactly 2 spaces apart, so if they have anything other than that, it's automatically bad. Choice E has only 1 space between T and M, so for that reason, E is gone, and L and V have to be 2 spaces apart, and we see that choice C has 3 spaces between them, so for that reason, C is gone as well, leaving A for number 17. Next, number 18, general must be true question. So one thing you could do is look back at question 17, choice A, because anything that must be true must have occurred in that diagram, but unfortunately A, B, and C all occurred back in 17A, so we cannot eliminate them on those grounds. However, we can eliminate choice D because D is saying that N and V have to touch, and back in 17A they did not, therefore we know that they do not have to. However, we can eliminate A, B, and C on different grounds, which is that T and M are completely interchangeable in this game, as you see in the rules. There is no distinction between them other than T also has to go before L. But none of A, B, and C actually needs to be the case. If you switch them all around and inserted M rather than T and vice versa, you wouldn't really run into any problems. So for that reason, none of A, B, or C has to be the case, leaving E by elimination for number 18. Now, of course, I'm actually going to look at choice E for number 18. N and W separated by meetings in exactly 2 other cities. Now, this has to be true because, M and T, as well as L and V, have to go exactly 2 spaces apart from each other. So, M and T 2 spaces between them, L and V 2 spaces between them. That has to happen on, 1 and 4, 2 and 5, or 3 and 6. So, due to the fact that we have to have, V and L 2 spaces apart, and V has to touch W, N will necessarily be separated from W. N and W are the 2 not involved in this rule right here. They'll be on 1 and 4, 2 and 5, and 3 and 6, basically wherever these guys don't go. So if M and T went to 1 and 4, and L and V went to 2 and 5, we'd have to have N and W on 3 and 6, of course, with W touching V. So, if we switch it around, if M and T were on 2 and 5 and L and V were on 3 and 6, N and W would have to go on 1 and 4 instead. So they're always going to be separated by with exactly 2 things in between them, depending specifically on where M, T, and LV go. So that's the reason E has to be true for number 18. Next, number 19, this question's asking us which one of the following, if true, would completely determine the layout of the cities to spaces, leaving no ambiguity at all. So we'll just run through the choices. L on 5 doesn't do it because L on 5 would still allow T on 1 and M on 4, or M on 1 and T on 4. It would not specify their layout. So for that reason, A can be eliminated. Next, looking at B, M on 6. M on 6 would still allow L and V to be interchangeable. If M were on 3, if M were on a 6, T would be on 3. We could have L on 4 or L on 5, and then have V coming earlier. It would not prohibit that interchangeability. So for that reason, B's gone as well. Next, looking at choice C, n on 5, n is always an ambiguous variable. There are no rules regarding it. So n would not tell us, n on 5 would not tell us where mt and lv would go. I mean, n on 5, we could still have m and t on 1, 4, or 4 and 1, L and V on 3, 6, 6, 3, etc. It would still work out perfectly fine, so for that reason, C is gone as well. It would not determine things fully. But looking at D, if V were on 1, L would have to go on 4. We have to have V and W touch, so W would have to go on 2. T has to go before L, so T would go on 3. This sets up a whole chain reaction. As you can see, T on 3 requires M on 6 because there are always exactly 2 between them. And of course that would leave remaining N to go on 5. So V on 1 led to one specific scenario with no ambiguity at all. Therefore, D is our answer for 19. I will look at E though. E says W on 2. Now W on 2 would not require all of this. It was V on 1 that required all of this. W on 2 generally speaking, W on 2 would still allow V to go on 1 or on 3 as long as it touched W. So for that reason, it's not specifying enough and can be eliminated, leaving D. Next, number 20, complete an accurate list of places where W could go. Well, we just saw W on number 2 back in number 19, so any choice not mentioning 2 is gone. That just gets rid of A, of course. But back in question 17, choice A, we had W on 3. Therefore, we know that W can go on 3 as well, so any choice lacking 3 is automatically gone, and that gets rid of D. Everything remaining still has listed both 2 and 3. Now, W is a pretty open-ended variable. As we saw, we have this whole layout thing of 1, 4, 2, 5, and 3, 6 due to the whole MTTM LVVL thing. So, as I said earlier, N is separated from 2 by W, separated with W by 2 spaces in between them, back in 18 choice E, and we knew that N and W could basically go wherever MT and LV don't go. So actually we do know that W could go anywhere, just as N could go anywhere, depending on where TM and LV do not go. Therefore, W could go on all 6, just as N could go on all 6, and E, listing 1 through 6, is our answer for number 20. Next, number 21, if M was on 1, what could not be true? So I'll put down M on 1 and we'll see what happens as a result. So M on 1 is going to require T to go on 4, and we know that T has to go before L. So L is going to have to go on 5 or 6 automatically. That's the main variable that's impacted. L is going to 5 or it's going to 6. And then, of course, V is going to go on either 2 or 3 as a result, wherever L doesn't, depending on where L goes. So we're really looking to see the impact on L here. So let's look for a choice mentioning L, as choice E does. L on 3, obviously impossible. M on 1 requires T on 4, L on 5 or 6. L could never go 3, therefore E is our answer to 21. Next, number 22, what could be true? So obviously choice A is gone because L is never 1 due to the fact that T has to go before it, so A is eliminated. Next, looking at B, N on 2. As I've said previously, N could go anywhere at all. Therefore, it's possible for N to go on 2, just as it's possible for W to go anywhere at all, and W could go on 2. Therefore, B is our answer to 22. I will look at the rest, though. C says M on 3. M on 3 would require, two spaces between M and T, therefore T goes on 6, but T cannot go on 6 due to the fact that it has to go before L. Therefore, M cannot go on 3. We can also actually add that to the diagram if we like. So C is gone. Next, looking at D, if we had V on 4. Well, V on 4 can't happen due to the fact that V on 4 would require L on 1, and L cannot go on 1 due to the fact that T is before it. Therefore, we know V4 is impossible as well, and we can eliminate D. Next, looking at E, T on 6, of course, that's impossible, as we've said, due to the fact that T goes before L, so T can never be last. E's gone, leaving B for 22. Next, number 23, general must be false question. So 4 of these things could be true, 1 of them cannot be true. You could find the 4 that could be true and eliminate them, and whatever remains is your answer, or if you see something impossible, you could just pick it and move on. So anyway, we'll run through the choices. L touching N. Is that possible? Well, we actually saw back in question 17, choice A, that L could be on 5, N could be on 6, so we do have proof that they could touch. Therefore, it doesn't have to be false, and A is eliminated. Next, looking at B, L touching W. Well, we know that W always touches V, and V is has exactly 2 spaces between it and L. Therefore, if we had VW, we would have VW space L, or if we had WV, we could have space, space, L, or we could have, space, L in the other direction. Actually, for this one up here, we could also have space, space, L. Well, actually, that wouldn't work because L can never be on 1. So actually, it is the other way around, W space L like this, or it would be something, one of these two, either LW space V with a cutoff there or cutoff here. Either way, we see that in none of these circumstances is W ever going to touch L. Therefore, we know it's impossible, and B is our answer for 23.